Monday morning, 8 o'clock on this June 30th, last day of the month.
Yes, it is.
Thanks so much for joining us here on ARC Rochester. I'm Stephannie Joseph.
I'm Dan Schrack. We have a packed 2 full hours to get through for you this Monday morning, so let's run down what we've got brewing.
This morning, we are diving deeper into some of the headlines that are making the rounds on social media and taking a closer look at what you have to say about them. That's coming up in today's Where You Stand.
And then we're firing up the grill as we look ahead to the upcoming 4th of July weekend. It's this morning's Health in a Handbasket, and we're talking about some must-have side dishes.
Ooh, that'll be good.
Yes.
And later, the wildlife rock stars are back in studio this morning, bringing along one of their exotic friends, Diggs the armadillo.
Making a comeback.
Yeah, he's going to share with us some of their upcoming summer events.
Absolutely. Before all of that, though, we do want to get a check of today's hot and muggy forecast because those temperatures, Marty says they are rising, and we're going to hit 90 degrees, or very near at least 90 degrees again today. Hey, Marty.
Yeah, those numbers are really going to build throughout the day, and already we've seen the number increase pretty well up to this point. We've started off with a good deal of sunshine, and that's put our temperature up to 69 degrees. The dew point, that's been increasing by about a degree an hour over the last couple observations, so that's putting it back up to about 63. So we're seeing that humidity level start to increase in the atmosphere as well, and I think that'll be a longer-term trend as well. So as we head into the afternoon, turning more humid, with the temperatures increasing by quite a bit, 87 at noon, probably closing in on 90 as we head through the afternoon. By the evening, that's when we'll pick up a couple of thunderstorms across the area. So I think most of today will stay dry, but as we head into the evening, I think that's that higher likelihood of a couple showers and thunderstorms. So again, 90 today, 84 and 83 for the next couple days. We see numbers pull back to close to average for Thursday and Friday for the 4th, back into the very lower 80s then. And we rise back a little higher into the 80s into Saturday and Sunday. So overall, pretty summer-like for a lot of these upcoming days, very much so for today. And then we pull back a little bit as we head through the next few days, but still a definite summer-like feel all the way straight through the week.
It looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
For us.
Yeah, me too.
And today, for a day with the risk of rain, I think a lot of the day is going to be dry. It's going to be towards the evening when some of those thunderstorms build in. So overall, not too bad there for the timing.
Sold. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, let's go off the top now and start with some things that have piqued our interest this morning. I will start things out today.
Okay.
All right, so there was a different kind of precipitation falling in Detroit last week. Money. Yes, it was literally raining money. So on Friday, a helicopter began dropping the cash on the city's east side. The video is amazing. You have to see it to believe it. This was all in honor of Daryl Thomas, a man respected in his community and known for his generosity. He sadly passed away. Some background on Thomas, who was known affectionately as Plant. He owned a car wash there and was also a licensed professional race car driver. According to the Detroit Free Press, Plant's sons actually planned for $5,000 and rose petals to fall from the chopper. Plant's niece said the gesture was her uncle's way of thanking the community. There was a major block party to celebrate Plant's life after the funeral. A lot of people are weighing in on social media, though, sharing their thoughts. Many are expressing admiration over the money. We'll see if we can pull up some of those comments there. But look at all that cash just falling right there. Gina said, "Now that's a final goodbye people will never forget. Pure generosity, even in his last moments." Don't you want to be known for that? Yeah. Another person asking a question that a lot of others may have asked themselves too. Why am I never in the right place at the right time?
Now I feel that comment.
One user hopes that this leads to more kind gestures from wealthy people. So it may have been in a joking way, but this person said when rich people start doing this for fun all around the world almost every day, it would be such a great thing to see. LOL. A final comment that I've seen in multiple places, surprisingly, is that this one where someone is concerned about how all the money will be collected. So they're saying that they're going to be finding it for some time because it wasn't dropped over a controlled space. So the plan was to drop the cash and petals over the funeral home. And while this act is largely seen as a heartwarming gesture, it is facing some scrutiny. So officers say that they were aware of the rose petals part being dropped, but they didn't know about the money.
Okay.
So they're, though, not investigating, but the FAA is.
Okay, yeah, I think you gotta make people aware that that's happening because that could be chaotic otherwise when
Yeah.
you just see cash falling from the sky. You don't know, are they singles? Are they $100 bills? What are people willing to do to get their hands on them and collect the most? Yeah, I could see why that would be problematic. Don't get me wrong, I think the idea is great.
Yeah.
Because truly, what a way to go out.
It really is. It's amazing.
Everybody will remember you.
They will. It's making national headlines.
Yeah.
So it is a great way to be remembered.
But at the same time, yeah, you got to think safety. Safety. If this is happening at a car wash that's, off of a busy intersection, do we really want people running into the street to grab the money?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, we're stopping in traffic and getting out of our vehicles. I don't know. Maybe the execution could have been a little better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I imagine that the people that were there, because there was a sizable crowd that was there already, they were told, like, hey, guys, look up or something, or, like, there's something to expect at a certain time. So I feel like it was controlled in a sense. But, yeah, may end up being a safety hazard if it was done in other highly populated areas.
Yeah.
So, glad no one was injured, and glad that a lot of people are admiring the gesture itself.
Yes.
As opposed to just the money.
The next address, the parking lot off of 4225 West Henrietta Road.
That would be great.
Rochester, New York.
Big
No
surprise.
complaints here. Just let us know when it's happening. So we're all standing out there in the parking lot
In
with our big
20s.
bank bags.
Yeah, 20s would be great.
20s?
Yeah.
20. Yeah. Spendable.
Yeah.
Spendable. All right, let's move along to my story, another money story. For my off the top this morning, I want to talk about the Bezos-Sanchez wedding in Italy and why it actually matters. So I'm sure you've heard all about this. On Friday, Jeff Bezos, the Amazon founder and one of the richest men on earth, married Lauren Sanchez in Venice. About 200 people were invited. It was a who's who of the billionaire class. Oprah, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kim Kardashian, Bill Gates, Ivanka Trump, Tom Brady. The kind of guest list that makes headlines because of the wealth all sitting in one room. But this wasn't just a wedding. This was a $50 million spectacle. Private jets, luxury yachts, a ball, a dress that took a year to make, all for one weekend. And right outside, protests. A group called No Space for Bezos on the streets, pointing out that Venice is already struggling with housing shortages and climate-driven flooding. Now, they say the city is being turned into a theme park for the ultra-rich, while locals get priced out. So let's put this all into context. Jeff Bezos, his net worth currently around $230 billion. So this wedding cost him roughly 0.02% of his fortune. What's that mean? For the average American with a net worth of $192,000, that's 2022 data, that would be equivalent to spending $40 on your wedding.
Wow.
$40. Now, it's not about jealousy. I want to be clear about that. I wouldn't say no to $1 billion either, okay? Who would? But when your wealth climbs so high, you forget what real life looks like. That's a problem. This wasn't about love. This was a spectacle. Those celebrities in attendance, they weren't there because they're deeply invested in Jeff and Lauren's love story or their best friends. They were there to be seen, to stay relevant, to sip on champagne on a boat, some to smile for photos, others to look disinterested in the attention they're requesting. Meantime, the world is literally on fire. We've got countries at war, kids going hungry, entire communities that can't afford rent. Nothing says of the people like a $50 million party. And then there's the dress. Lauren Sanchez wore a custom Dolce & Gabbana gown that took 1 year to make. 1 year. Hundreds of hours. Silk chiffon, custom lace, probably priced tagged in the millions of dollars, all for one night. This isn't just excessive. It's out of touch. I'm not saying no billionaires should exist, but I am saying maybe dial it back a little bit. Get married, have the cake, a little dance, but I don't think you need to rent out a city and burn that much money to prove that you're important. Because when the entire world is watching, maybe don't make it so easy for us to see just how little you understand what most people are going through. That's not style. That's not elegance. That's just a waste. And that's where I'll leave it.
I mean, I think that it would have been great to do some sort of donation that honors some part of Venice culture, you know, in a sense. I was surprised to see the diversity of celebrity guests that were there. It would have been nice to, you know, maybe hear about the family aspect. I did hear a snippet of Lauren Sanchez's interview about the dress itself. And it seemed like she was, you know, madly in love, and she had talked about, I guess, the traditional way that it looked. And she said that it was a story about, you know, their journey to this point.
The dress was?
Yes, it's on Vogue if you want to watch the interview. But I am not one.
You know what that's called? That's called justifying a multi-million-dollar dress at a multi-million-dollar wedding. Now I'm gonna lose my temper over this, because that's the biggest crock I've ever heard. The dress is a story. Get out of town and stay there, please. Go somewhere where we don't have to deal with you.
Well, I do want to say one more thing. I think when it comes to billionaires or those who are wealthy, it would be great to see some compassion, I think, for those that aren't as well placed. But then again, it comes to that debate where it's like, they earn the money.
Sure, but you've got a car wash owner who's, you know, dropping cash across the city, and he's not the richest man in the world, wasn't, I would imagine. And you've got somebody with $230 billion. Ashley is yelling in my ear. Let's go. Get out of here. All right. Stick around. We've got a lot more to come right here on ARC Rochester, including when we come back, we're checking in with Chris Lopez. He is trying to catch a flight to anywhere, I suppose, for the upcoming holiday weekend.
And hey, don't forget that you can watch us on the go wherever you are by streaming us live on the 13 Blam YouTube channel and foxrochester.com. We're back after this.
.14 AAA is predicting another round of record-breaking travel for the upcoming holiday, both on the roads and in the sky.
Chris Lopez has been talking to passengers heading out and has a few tips for anyone preparing this morning. Hey, Chris, how are things?
What's that look of fear on your face?
It's busy again out there.
No, just no. Yeah, it's a little bit busier. Nothing in comparison to earlier this morning at about 5 o'clock. So some people here are having an easier time than others, especially at that 5 o'clock hour. There was probably a few hundred people in here this morning waiting to get through the line. It was a debate, really. There was people that said they'd never seen something like this. There was a gentleman, I think he was a business traveler, so he said he has seen things like this and that it was just another Monday, but it is certainly cooled off now. A little bit of a line headed on American behind me, but that wasn't the case this morning. So some had an easier time at the airport than others. We spoke with a lady who said just that. Take a listen.
Less people at the airport. I feel like less crazy travel day. I feel like last year we did just Monday to Monday and it was a lot more busier, and we left around noon and it was pretty crazy. So.
Yeah, and then when asking people why they're traveling this early, a lot of people range from I'm taking an extended vacation to a lot of people pretty much just said that they're trying to beat those 4th of July crowds that are probably going to fill up this airport on Wednesday and Thursday. The busiest time to travel on the road is going to be Wednesday. I want to correct that from the last segment. I said was going to be Tuesday, but it's going to be Wednesday this year. And AAA is predicting about 72 million people to travel at least 50 miles or more. That's the criteria that they use. And they started measuring that statistic this past Saturday, and they will stop measuring that statistic this coming Sunday, July 6th. The popular destinations are going to be Orlando, Anchorage, Alaska, New York City, and Seattle. And, you know, people are paying a little bit more this year in terms of airfare in comparison to last year. It's up about 4%. The average round trip ticket is going to cost someone $810. And then I want to switch over to the people on the road, right? You have travel through airfare, you have travel on buses, and then you have a lot of the chunk of people that are going to travel on the road. They're expecting 61.6 million people to travel by car. It's about a 2% increase, a few factors playing into that. One of them being that 4th of July falls on a Friday. The other is going to be gas prices are significantly lower than they are from last year. They're averaging about $3.15 nationally, $3.17 here in Rochester. So that's contributing to that flow of traffic that's going to be on the road. And like I said, the busiest time on the road is going to be on Wednesday, and AAA recommends that people travel early in the morning Wednesday to try and beat that traffic. Guys, sending it back to you in studio.
Chris, what's train travel expected to be like?
Train travel, I have not gotten those statistics for you, but I do have some statistics for you. It's going to be a record-breaking year in regards to cruises. We spoke with someone who was flying to Las Vegas, and they were going to go from Las Vegas to Alaska to take those Alaskan cruises. Those are also at a record number this year. I believe they were a record number last year, but this year topped last year. So really an overall trend going up in regards to travel, whether it's air, whether it's buses, whether it's cars, or whether it's cruises.
Anything on bicycles or scooters?
Oh, Dan. Give him
That's
a
going to be,
break.
I mean, 50 miles. I mean, that's a good exercise to get somewhere. You know, you travel 50 miles out on bike, travel 50 miles back. Get 100 miles in, you burn off some of those 4th of July hot dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Chris, thank you.
Hey, stick around when we come back. It's this morning's weather trivia.
McLean will join us after the break.
8:21, welcome back. Meteorologist McLean joining us now with a look at today's rising temperatures and, of course, some weather trivia.
Yeah, some weather trivia today. So we had some storms last week. Some of those storms even had some large hail in them, and large in whether it's 3/4 of an inch or greater in size. So I said, well, let's take a look at this. What part of the United States sees the greatest frequency of hail?
Ooh.
How about that?
That's a great question.
I like
That's
it.
a fun question, right? So here's your choices. And of course, this is up on social media as well. So there's the picture of hail on the side. That was from one of our storms last summer there. Is it Florida that sees the greatest frequency of hail? Is it New York State, Texas, or is it Kansas that sees the highest frequency of hail?
Okay,
I've
so
narrowed it down to 2.
yeah, here's my thought process.
Okay.
Places with tornadoes.
Okay,
With
so
those-
Tornado Alley.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those active weather systems.
Yeah.
Something tells me they're going to experience far more hail
Yeah.
than a state that sees hurricanes.
That's very good deductive reasoning. Every storm and weather just needs 2 things, right? They need heat and they need moisture, okay? And you're not going to have storms without either one of those things. So try to play that into your mind too when you think of this question.
Use the context clue.
I know. I feel like he's just throwing us off. I don't
Dig
know.
in the context clue.
All right, wait, is that
Inside joke.
Has that already been posted?
It has been posted.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
So put your answers up there. We'll have the answer at 9 o'clock on ARC Rochester. And speaking of storms, there is a chance later this afternoon, this evening, that we do get a few pop-up storms in western New York. Right now, we do not see the potential of widespread severe weather, but we're kind of on the edge. You see that marginal area down in the southern tier, that green shading, where we could see some heavy rain, some localized wind gusts, some lightning, and certainly the potential for some hail. So that kind of got me thinking about that trivia today. So we'll keep you posted on that later. Now, one thing that's going to change, the atmospheric moisture content. Right now, it feels a little humid when you go outside. The dew point's at 63, but watch the future dew points, and you're going to see these numbers spike into the 70s late this afternoon and into the overnight. So it's going to be a real muggy, kind of Florida-like atmosphere later today and tonight, and that's going to fuel up some of these guys. On Ultimate Doppler radar, you see the area right there on the western portion of Pennsylvania into Ohio. Some lightning strikes there showing up as some of these storms are slowly drifting to the northeast. We'll find the cloud cover eventually filling in a little bit more late this afternoon, and again, that potential for some tropical downpours tonight. But at least for the short term, you're in pretty good shape. It's lots of sunshine out there for the time being. There's the clouds kind of spilling in later this afternoon and into this evening. Look at 5, 6 o'clock dinner time. Again, a thundery downpour right there. Don't be surprised if you get a briefly strong thunderstorm too. That's going to be possible.
Ooh.
Yeah, another one.
Yeah.
So late tonight. So this is, again, if you've lived in Florida, you've been in Florida, this is the kind of scenario that they get down there. Anytime the atmosphere gets this tropical, you're going to have that potential. And then into Tuesday, not a washout by any stretch of the imagination, but there's going to be a little convergence on the Niagara Peninsula off to the west of Rochester, and that just means the air's squeezing together in that area, and that causes lift in the atmosphere, and that's going to give us another chance for some showers and thunder by tomorrow afternoon. But 69, again, for the time being, the dew points are in the low 60s, but they will surge into the 70s later today. And look at your temps. This could be the 4th day of 90 so far this year.
Wow.
Sending June out on a heater, right?
Yeah.
There's the thunder symbol beyond 6, 8, 10, 11 o'clock tonight. We're only going to get into the low 70s overnight, so leave that air conditioner cranked up pretty well. That south breeze very light, and again, just feeling like Florida. The 7-day forecast is a warm one. It's one for the pool lovers. There's that chance for rain and thunder on Tuesday again. Thursday, there's a small chance. We'll just call it isolated. And right now, heading into the weekend, it looks mainly dry with temps in the mid to upper 80s.
So I left the house this morning and kept the windows open.
Yeah.
And the plan is after work, once I get home, that's when I'll button things up and turn that AC on, because by
It's just going to be humid in there.
Yeah, it'll be a little humid. But
Yeah.
no.
You get home
Then
early
I'll,
enough.
Then I'll turn the AC on at that point.
Okay.
On
Might
these
take
these hours, you can do that.
Yeah.
For sure.
yeah.
For sure. You don't want to get home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
No.
That would be a scorcher.
Yeah, that would be rough.
Yeah.
That would be rough. Things look like they're shaping up, though, to be a pretty decent week, especially as we head to the 4th of July.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It looks nice and seasonable. Temps near 80 right now. The dew points back in the upper 50s and low 60s. So pretty nice for the outdoor plans. Yep.
Good news
Feel
for
like Florida.
the fireworks shows, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you hosting?
We are.
You
hosting
are?
Friday. Yep. We're gonna have a little cookout, a little barbecue out back.
Perfect. What time should
Drop
what
by
time should we
anytime.
be
You
there?
guys are always welcome.
Yeah?
Okay. Always.
You think we're kidding?
Come over.
Okay.
Well, we'll count our fingers Saturday morning.
Make sure they're all still there. All right,
my
McLean, thank you. Hey, don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more to come right here on ARC Rochester.
We're back on the other side of the break.
Just before 8:30 this Monday morning, thanks so much for sticking with us here on ARC Rochester. We want to turn now to some of the stories that are grabbing people's attention on social media and taking a closer look at where you stand.
All right, so we'll start things out with a disturbing story out of Chesapeake, Virginia. A mother there has filed a lawsuit against a funeral home after her deceased son was, quote, covered with and consumed by clumps of maggots at his viewing.
It's really a disturbing story. So according to this lawsuit, Tabitha Worrall's 24-year-old son, Torrin Williams, died in a car crash on May 2nd, 2022.
The family paid $3,000 to Snelling Funeral Home as a down payment for their son's funeral. The viewing and funeral was held a week later.
Yeah, now as mourners approached the body of Williams, people noticed that his body, particularly his face, nose, and mouth, were covered, we're told, in maggots.
The lawsuit stated that the maggots had been on and in Williams' body for a significant period of time and had been purposely ignored on the day of the service.
Yeah, now again, all of this from the lawsuit, that suit claiming that one of the employees reportedly put their hands on Worrall and said, "Don't you make a scene."
Now, she filed the lawsuit on the grounds that the funeral home failed to perform funeral services in a professional or sanitary manner, as well as causing severe emotional distress, heartache, mental turmoil, and anxiety.
You can only imagine what this family was going through at the time of the crash and then after this, if these allegations are true. This lawsuit claimed that Worrall believed the funeral home did not store her son in a sealed refrigerator and did not take care to prepare the body on the day of the viewing and the funeral.
The CEO of Snelling Funeral Home said that Williams' death was tragic, but they did not have any statement about the funeral due to the ongoing litigation.
Yeah, a lot of times when these lawsuits are in play, some of the parties can't speak because of legalities, or sometimes they're told by their representation, their lawyers, their attorneys, that they should not speak until there is either a settlement or some sort of end to the story.
Yeah.
But it certainly got people talking online, wondering if we can bring up some of those comments. So this comment on Facebook, Caitlin Mitchell said, "That's horrible. I couldn't even imagine how traumatic this is for the family. No mother should ever have to see their baby like that."
Yeah, and another person weighing in on Facebook, Lori says, "Wow, don't make a scene. I would have been in jail moments after those words were uttered, and that lid would have been dropped so no one else had to have that image seared into their memory. They need to be sued out of existence."
Yeah, that's a lot of emotion goes into this. Another one here, David Willis. "While I see it was a week he died before the funeral, how long was his body in the care and custody of the county morgue before the funeral home received the body?" That's a solid question. The funeral home still should have recognized that there was an issue.
Yeah, it's something that you couldn't miss, taking care of the body.
You would certainly think that this is quite the oversight,
Yeah.
All right, let's move along now to a story out of Ontario County where flames engulfed several homes in the town of Richmond early yesterday morning. This is a story we've been talking about all day so far, and it's really gaining traction online.
Yeah, that's for sure. So that fire, it broke out just after 8 yesterday morning. 10 fire departments responded to that scene, being sure to keep first responders hydrated in that heat.
Yeah, now crews had that fire under control within just about an hour, but one of the homes was occupied at the time. Thankfully, though, everyone made it out and no one was injured. Now, 2 other homes were destroyed. The cause of this fire, we're told, remains under investigation as cleanup continues. Really devastating.
A lot of damage that you're seeing there, not just the homes, but you saw a vehicle over there as well. And I'm sure a lot of people are weighing in on social media. One person writing, "Ange, let's pray for this family and pray for any assistance they might need, and all are safe." And another person also weighing in, Lori Hotchkiss, saying the same thing, resonating with that comment, "Prayers for all residents and first responders." And
what I like about Ange's comments is, and what Jill says, let's pull together and see if these people need help. That's such a community response. And we are so fortunate to have kind people who think like this.
Right.
Hey, how can we put our minds together and help these people who are really reeling? Caroline says, "Does anyone know what they need?" Ian says, "Honeoye has had more than enough tragedy for 1 week. Can this just stop already?" Certainly a devastating situation for these families, but also for the community. When you see events like this, it doesn't just take a toll on the individuals you think are impacted. It usually is pretty far-reaching.
Yeah, that's somebody's friend, somebody's sister.
Exactly.
So it's, I'm sure a lot of people are reeling in the community, wondering, of course, how they can help, which is amazing. Any sort of help goes a long way. We're there on scene a lot of times when the Red Cross is deployed and talking to people. It is a hard moment for a lot of people, but just being able to see that the community wants to wrap their arms around them during this devastating time is amazing.
Yeah, and if there are any updates or if anyone reaches out and says, hey, these are the resources, this is where people can assist these families, we'll make sure to keep you posted both on air and online. We'll update the story that you find on our website, 13wham.com.
All right, we'll turn now to an animal story that has been quite popular on the 13 Wham Facebook page.
Love this.
Yes, the New York State Canal Corporation's approach to keeping the Erie Canal path clean with goats.
Yeah, we talked about this last week, but the story, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger on social media. People love the video. They love the idea of this. So for the next 4 weeks, goats, you see them all there. They're going to be patrolling the canal, managing vegetation around Grease Canal Park. Now, officials say goats are well suited for this task because they're able to go down steep embankments and overgrown areas better than humans and machinery.
Look at those faces. Okay, if the pilot program...
And they're hungry.
Right? If it goes as planned, it could lead to long-term implementation for maintaining the Canal Corporation's earthen embankments across the state.
I would love to have gone this weekend just to see the turnout of people. Because you have to imagine there's going to be a lot of people out there wanting to take some pictures of these goats or, you know, from a distance, a safe distance with a goat for an Instagram selfie.
And what a cool idea. I mean, you could think of all the ways that they could get rid of that vegetation, but this is a way to also support wildlife in a
Absolutely.
sense.
And listen, and they're getting a meal out of it, okay?
Yeah.
Cheryl says, I could use those critters behind my house. Tons of vegetation, and they're cute too. They certainly are. Claire says, this has been done in Spartanburg, South Carolina with tremendous success.
That's good to know. David says, as the goats eat up the vegetation, they are also fertilizing the soil with their droppings. The vegetation becomes even more lush.
Yeah, it does. Don't know that we needed to go there before breakfast, but okay. Jamie says, but can I pet them? And I'm going to say the answer probably, Jamie, is no. You cannot pet them. I would give them their space to do their jobs.
Jay also weighing in. A friend of mine tried this at his home. They destroyed everything. He would come home and find them standing on his car. I'd much rather see them putting the money towards fixing the roads.
Okay. Listen, I understand that. I understand that. I don't know if goats know anything about paving, though. Get it?
Yeah.
Get it? Come on. Have a little sense of humor, people.
I thought you were going to do a paving.
No, I saved it for you, Steph. I saved it for you. All right, one more story here, one of the most talked about stories on social media. It's a wrap on this year's Rochester International Jazz Festival. Can you believe it?
I can.
It came and went so quickly.
Yeah, more than 1,500 artists. They graced the variety of stages across the Rochester region over the course of 9 days, specifically downtown Rochester. Some of the big headliners this year were Smokey Robinson, the Wood Brothers, Ricky Lee Jones, and Thundercat.
Yeah, lots of talent showing up. This is, though, look at this. This is one of the best parts when you get to see some of that local talent, especially the young kids from area middle and high schools that get up there and get to play, and it gives them a real taste of what the life of a musician is. And so many of them. We talked to Mark Iacona, the co-director of the festival, on Friday, and he was telling us so many of these musicians over the course of the past 2+ decades that have performed as children end up coming back because they're touring with some of these massive names, and some of them on the road right now to become big names themselves. So it's quite an experience.
It's amazing. Covering it last year, some amazing artists were there. I got to talk to an American Idol finalist who was amazing, and she did a great job in the big tent. And then also seeing like Leve when she was here. I don't know, she's like a Norwegian artist, and she was amazing. But specifically the fans, they were all dressed up, excited, some holding like album covers. It's huge fanfare. Going this year was really great because I just could go.
Who did you see?
Wynton Marsalis.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay,
so it was
okay.
like a big night there and a lot of fun. It was a packed house, top to bottom.
Wynton Marsalis, one of the headliners. Was he at Kodak Hall or was he at Parcel 5?
Kodak Hall.
Kodak Hall. One of his bandmates was the Eastman grad that we spoke to.
Yeah.
I mean, the level of talent we have in this region is really stellar.
It's amazing. The artists here in all different sorts of fields. They are great.
Oh, I forgot. We have comments for this stuff. That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Tracy says, yes, bittersweet because it's the end of an amazing 9 days of music, fun, and friends. It is. Janet says, we're lucky to have this in Rochester. And boy, we absolutely are.
That is for sure. Parcel 5 was hopping. Producer Jonathan, he was there.
Yes.
Trombone Shorty. That was amazing to see his videos. I didn't go down there at the time, but having been there before, it gets loud. A lot of people, there's a lot that just come over there and dance the night away.
It's such a wonderful community gathering too. Again, something else we talked about on Friday, but I'm going to bring it up again because it makes so much sense. You know, you've got these musicians that come together and it's like their family reuniting and seeing each other as they sometimes do out on tour. But you have all of these music lovers who come to see this incredible series, and they're reconnecting just the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
It's really incredible.
All right, so you can always check out all of these stories on our website, 13wham.com.
Yeah, don't forget to weigh in on the stories. You
Please.
weigh in online, and you could see your remarks right here, and we'll talk about them and call you out. Stick around, a lot more to come right here this morning on ARC Rochester, including when we return, we're once again checking in with Chris Lopez, who's previewing that upcoming holiday travel.
And hey, take us with you. You can watch us on the go wherever you are by streaming us live on the 13 Wham YouTube channel and, of course, foxrochester.com. We're back after this. This open before?
I don't know, but I'm really feeling that groove, that beat.
Ready to travel.
Yeah, so 4th of July holiday, just a couple of days away, and many are already starting their vacations. We've heard of summer Fridays.
Yeah.
Well, people are now doing like summer Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
I don't blame them. Yeah.
I know.
I'd do it too. DeChalais is predicting a record-breaking travel period, and Chris Lopez has been getting a look at what passengers can expect. Hey, Chris, what are you hearing? He's laughing. What's going on?
Hey guys, I'm listening to you guys. That's why I'm laughing. You guys make me laugh this early in the morning. It's a good trait. Keep it up. There wasn't too many people laughing bright and early in the morning, though. We got here at about 4:45. As you see right now, there's not too many people here. But earlier this morning, there was an absolute ton of people, probably a few hundred, the most I've ever seen since covering airport travel stories. And that was certainly the case for others that we talked to. We were asking, why are you leaving so early? And most were saying, look, I want to beat that holiday rush, so I'm here bright and early on a Monday. That wasn't the case, though. They did not. Anyone traveling right now, though, it's pretty clear. And we spoke to, like I said, we spoke to people why they're traveling early. Some people had different reasons, trying to beat the rush. Other people, kids. Here, take a listen. Here's a lady explaining that.
Especially with kids, you want to have extra time. Just makes it easier, and then it makes it easier for them to run around, burn off some energy before we get on the plane.
Certainly kids play a factor into wanting to come and travel early. In case your flight gets delayed, you can reschedule it. And I want to go back to those record-breaking numbers to give some context. Record-breaking year, of course, we've heard it time in and time out again. This year, 72.2 million people will travel, and the criteria is 50 miles or more from their home. And those numbers started accruing this past Saturday, and they're going to go until June 6th, which is this Sunday. Now, that's an increase of about 1.7 million travelers. And a few factors are included into this, right? The holiday does fall on a Friday, which makes it easier to plan and travel when it's just a 3-day weekend, as opposed to last year when you have to maybe take a 4-day weekend. That's a 1.4% increase from last year. And some of those top destinations are going to be Orlando, Anchorage, Alaska, New York City, Seattle, Vancouver if you're flying internationally, and people are going to pay certainly for this year. There's a little bit of inflation going into tickets, about a 4% rise in comparison to last year. A round trip ticket is going to cost you about $810. Guys, back to you in studio.
Chris, is Vancouver really the international travel destination people are picking?
That's the number one spot, believe it or not. It was followed by Italy, but something about Vancouver has people placing it at number one. Yes.
The good old BC. All right. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it.
Hey, stick around when Arc Rochester returns. We are heading into the kitchen as we continue to discuss the upcoming holiday weekend.
Yeah, we're back on the other side of the break. Time for this week's Health in a Handbasket, and this morning we're getting ready for the upcoming 4th of July get-togethers, brainstorming some good dish ideas.
And for more, we are joined now by registered dietitian and nutritionist Alyssa Strassman. Good morning to you.
Good morning. So today I brought 3 different ideas for, I can't talk, very simple side dishes. It's a mouthful. And why I chose these is they can feed a crowd. I always feel, at least for me, my memories of 4th of July is lots of people. And so all of these are simple things that do not take much time in the kitchen, but can feed a crowd and are pretty satisfying. So the first is watermelon. These,
Love it.
yes, pretty cheap, but also they go a long way. So even if you're making a fruit salad, or even if you're just putting slices out, they make it easy to eat. The slices people can pick up, they can grab, and they can go. So it makes it just a nice, portable, friendly option for people. But also they extend those fruit salads. Like we think about putting berries and other things like that in that. When we add some melons, it gives it a little bit more volume where we can extend when we're feeding for a crowd. One of the things I always get asked, and I don't know if you've been questioning or if people ask, is how do I pick a ripe watermelon?
Okay.
So what I have been taught and what I have learned is, do you see this?
Yeah.
This is called the field spot. So when you see this is a good sign that that watermelon has been sitting in the field and ripening. So we want to look for like a nice yellow color. If we don't see one at all, or if it's very white, that may mean that it was picked too early. So try to look for this nice, big, yellow, creamy field spot, and then you know you're in good business.
It should also say, it sounds a little different than one that's unripe. Yeah, it's kind of got
Hollow?
like a hollow sound
Yeah,
to
the
it.
other thing they said is look for the little belly button, and if it's brown, you're good
okay.
to go.
Yep. There it is.
So that's what I've been seeing, but I always go with the field spot, and I always look for the one that's been sitting there the longest, and it's never done me wrong.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good to know.
The next I have is a 3-bean salad, and why this is easy is because literally if you can open a can and chop some veg, you're totally fine with this one. It's only celery, onion, so if you can dice those up and open 3 cans of beans and throw them in with some parsley, and then you just drizzle on some olive oil and some vinegar, and if you want a little bit of sweetness, you can do that too, with some salt and pepper, and mix it up, and boom, you're good to go.
Sold.
Also can make it ahead of time, so we're not like in the kitchen trying to make things
Well, and
before.
this is one of those things that you can make 2-3 days in advance, and it only gets better.
Yep, for sure.
As it sits.
And that's only like half of it, so just know like it's gonna feed a crowd.
Yes.
And then this is a very veggie pasta salad. So very, very simple. What makes it easy is as the pasta is boiling, you can chop your veggies. And then if you like, you can use a bottled salad dressing. And then you just put everything together in a bowl and you mix it up. You can always adapt to like what you have on hand or what vegetables you like in there. So I have red onion, mushrooms, broccoli. There is pepper in there. There is, what else did I put in there?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes are in there. Yeah, so a bunch of different stuff. But again, you can adapt it to what you like and then pick a dressing that you enjoy.
Did you blanch the broccoli before you put it in?
No,
No?
but what happens is it marinades in the dressing as it sits, so
Okay.
it does soften up a little bit. But yeah, again, like, don't get so, I think with recipes, I always tell people think about them as like a template. Like you can totally improvise,
Yeah.
right? With different things that you enjoy. You could play around with different pasta shapes or different types of grains as well. You could do tortellini in there too. So, I mean, there's just a lot of different options to make it your own, but it can be very simple and very easy, and it feeds a crowd.
Love it.
Yeah.
Can I make 2 suggestions?
Yes.
So with your watermelon,
Yeah.
take your second watermelon, dice it up, make yourself a watermelon goat cheese salad.
Ooh, I haven't had that.
Yeah.
Watermelon and goat cheese, very
Fruit,
simple.
nuts, and cheese for me.
Right?
Ooh,
Yeah.
Very filling too.
My other idea is take that third watermelon, because you got to buy them in 3s, I suppose.
Sure.
Just cut a nice little hole in the top, bottle of vodka in there, let it sit for a day.
Oh, I've seen those.
Just saying. Just saying, those slices of watermelon go down extra easy.
I'm sure.
They do. Alyssa Strassman, thank you so much. Hit them with the socials. People want to learn more. Where do they go?
Yes, they can go to Facebook and find me at Alyssa Strassman, RDN, CDN, or if they want to visit my website, they can go to alyssastrassman.com.
Boom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, don't go anywhere. When Arc Rochester returns, we are giving you a preview of what's to come.
We are back after this. What's to come? I don't know.
Much more to get to here on Arc Rochester as we continue into the 9 o'clock hour. We'll be taking you behind the story as lawmakers in Washington are racing toward a Friday deadline to finalize President Trump's massive spending plan.
Yeah, and then later we are exploring soccer of the future. We're going to give you a look at how China is using sports to test out advancements in AI technology. That and much more in Trending Now.
Stick around, we're back after this.
This
Monday
is you.
morning. I thought it was you.
I've never seen him speechless before.
Usually he just jumps in.
No, well, I've been accused of stepping on you,
Sorry.
so I didn't want to.
Well, good Monday morning to you. 9:01 on this June 30th. Thanks so much for staying with us here on Arc Rochester.
I'm Stephannie Joseph.
Hi.
I'm Dan Schrack, Mark McLean, Stephannie Joseph. We are getting ready for weather trivia and those rising temperatures, Mark.
Yeah, a couple of interesting topics here. Not only do we get the heat today, but we also get a little storm potential later this afternoon, this evening. So probably worthwhile to talk about one of the components of severe weather, which is hail. And you can say this confidently and safely.
What the hell?
Yes, I knew it was coming. Okay. What state has the highest frequency of hail and is considered the hail capital of the U.S.? Your choices were Florida, New York, Texas, or Kansas. Of the four on that list, did we have any? Oh, we did have some.
Oh, look at that. Oh, wow.
Oh, lots of
wow.
respondents. We're all on the C team.
I will say my two that I narrowed it down to was Texas and Kansas.
Okay. What's the theory behind that? Texas and Kansas.
So I thought about Florida, and I was like, and then New York, no way.
Yeah.
And then with Texas, I don't know. I know that they see hail events, but it seems like it's more on the rare side. Kansas, I felt like there are a lot of severe weather events that happen there. But when you were talking about the moisture, I was like, I don't know if it's Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I'm going to go Texas.
Okay, because everything is bigger in Texas, right? Okay.
Higher the hair, the closer to God.
So, Colorado also has a very high frequency of hail. I didn't put it on this list, but there has been years where Colorado has led the team here. But Texas had more than 1,000 hail events in 2023 with hail larger than 1 inch in size.
Wow.
Now, obviously, the advantage for Texas is its geographical footprint. So it's a huge state, lots of surface area. Better chance for seeing hail events because of that, because of the larger. But if you go to Kansas and you get up into Nebraska, the hail size there gets bigger.
Oh wow!
Nebraska, I believe, has the largest hail stone of all the U.S. states. So interesting stuff. No ice in the bath for this little guy.
Look at that.
The photo came in. And we don't know what doggy's name is, but he's enjoying that bath.
That's incredible. Is that a bath or is that just a pool on a hot day?
Right.
That's what I like to think.
Whatever it takes when it gets like this, right, outside. We're going to be good today, this morning, early this afternoon, if you're going for the walk in before the paws get too hot on that pavement out there. Tomorrow could be some wet paws, especially during the afternoon, and also on Thursday. But, this is a forecast that it does feature lots of dry time for pup as you head out. We're up to 74 already. That dew point is starting to climb too, up to 64, and we do anticipate dew points in the 70s, especially later today when we start to fire up some showers and localized thunder showers. And it's one of those days we're not talking about this in a sense that it's a widespread health issue, but it's one of these afternoons that if you're out there mowing the lawn or something, you want to reduce activity or just hold off on some of those things until later in the day. You get the heat index in the low 90s, so it's very.
It's also good to check in on the neighbors.
Yeah, check the neighbors and make sure you water the plants too.
Yeah,
it's one of those deals, and you see the very widely scattered nature to all these showers and thunder showers that are southwest of town right now. This is the kind of thing that we're going to see this afternoon. It's not going to be an everybody deal. It's going to be, you're going to watch the news tonight at 10 and 11 o'clock, and we're going to have, an inch of rain somewhere and nothing somewhere else. It's one of those all or nothing deals when it comes to thunderstorms. But at least for the time being, it's sunshine. The clouds will start to fill in late this afternoon into this evening. There's that warm front coming into play. That's going to give us a pretty good chance again this evening of a shower or thunder shower as that front clears the area. We'll start to dry out, and then tomorrow afternoon there's the cool front coming in. That's going to create some convergence west of Rochester and likely fire up some showers and isolated thunderstorms as well. So something we'll be tracking for you. How about a golf forecast?
Let's do it. The Dan Schrack Invitational, not too far away.
Oh boy, have we selected a venue yet for the
We have
Invitational?
not, but if you work at Oak Hill or one of the fancy country clubs, reach out. We're looking for sponsorship, and I'm looking for a free non-golf membership.
I'm thinking maybe a place like Oak Hill already has the summer schedule filled out, maybe.
Well, again, I don't need to golf.
Oh, okay.
I just need to go into the restaurant and look at a drink menu that I know I can't afford and a dinner menu that I know I'll never eat from.
Yeah.
What about a tasting menu?
You want to be the third party.
Yes, the third wheel.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you may discover your inner Happy Gilmore if you get out there.
This is true.
You might.
Right.
You get to ride in a golf
I could
cart?
drive I could place
No,
caddy.
here's what you do. You drive the beer cart.
The beer cart?
Oh,
That's-
yeah.
That's
When you golf.
risky.
Oh, yeah.
That's risky. I wouldn't put me in charge of that.
It would be risky by the third hole.
Yeah, it really would. It really. They would say I would get ticketed by hole number 3.
Is that possible?
No.
Oh, my goodness. But, circling back to the old golf forecast, we're going to be close to 90 before the clouds come in, and there's that shower and thunder threat by 4, 5, 6 o'clock this evening. We'll keep you posted as that activity starts to brew up. But tonight, feels like Florida, low 70s. Keep the AC cranked up. Some passing thunderstorms certainly seem like a pretty good possibility tonight in that juicy atmosphere. And the 7-day forecast will go back in the low to mid 80s. You see the numbers there by Thursday, back to near 80s, some isolated showers. And 4th of July right now looks pretty seasonable with temps near 80.
Dan was not a fan of that.
Yeah,
juicy.
no.
Juicy atmosphere.
Yeah.
No? No?
No.
How about high
No.
atmospheric moisture content?
That's better than just moist.
Okay.
I want to talk about this weekend.
Yeah.
We'll get together.
Yeah.
We went on.
Yeah, we had some fun. We went out for a weather lunch. Selena was able to join us, so we were happy about that. But it's been a while, and John's there. See Marty and Scott, and we were just having fun, just yucking it up about the weather. Bad dad jokes, that kind of stuff.
Hey, ChatGPT, finish this joke for me. What do you call a group of meteorologists getting together for lunch?
Well, there was only a 50% chance of it happening, so.
That I didn't know what to
Dad
say.
jokes.
Like, what do you call
Meteorology jokes.
Yeah. Does it have an answer?
that-
Well, it won't. It's still listening to you two.
Oh,
continue
all right, so
to
we have to be
to
quiet.
chat
All
on.
right, be quiet.
Okay, so what's the punchline of the joke, ChatGPT?
I love that you guys are having fun with this. The punchline could be a brainstorm. What do you think?
He sounds
A brainstorm.
so real.
That's not bad. Can you give me one more punchline? What do you call a group of meteorologists getting together for lunch?
All right, how about this? A cloud of forecasters.
A cloud of forecasters.
I like that.
That's
amazing.
not bad.
Yeah.
That's
That's
amazing.
not bad.
Yeah, I like it.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, McLean. Thank
Yeah.
you. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Hey, stay with us. We have a lot more to get to here on our Rochester, including when we come back, we are going to be taking you behind the story this Monday morning.
We certainly are. And don't forget, you can take us with you on the go. We are streaming live right now on the 13WAM YouTube channel and on foxrochester.com. Stick around. Arc Rochester returns after this. are going behind this story this morning. Lawmakers in D.C. are racing toward that Friday deadline to finalize President Trump's massive spending plan.
The 940-page bill, dubbed the Big Beautiful Bill, cleared a key vote in the Senate over the weekend after hours of debate.
CNN's Amy Kelley has more on that vote.
By no means is this bill final.
The fate of President Donald Trump's budget bill remains uncertain ahead of today's vote-a-rama in the Senate. Democrats are united in opposition.
A handful of billionaires get a big break, while working people lose their Medicaid, while hungry kids lose access to food funding.
Most Republicans are united in support of the bill.
We have before us today a once-in-a-generation opportunity to deliver legislation to create a safer, stronger, and more prosperous America.
But if more than 3 Republicans oppose the measure, it's likely to fail. Senator Tom Tillis says he'll vote no and retire at the end of his term.
What do I tell 663,000 people in 2 years or 3 years when President Trump breaks his promise by pushing them off of Medicaid because the funding's not there?
Senator Rand Paul says he voted no to a procedural measure because he thinks the bill would add trillions to the deficit.
That doesn't sound at all conservative to me.
Alaska Senator Lisa Murkowski wants carve-outs for her state. Maine Senator Susan Collins is signaling she'll propose an amendment. And Senator Josh Hawley says he'll vote yes, but
we can't be cutting health care for working people and for poor people in order to constantly give special tax treatment to corporations.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Certainly a controversy brewing in Washington at this hour.
Yeah.
So right now the debate is happening on this. It actually began yesterday, the debate on this mega bill and what changes, what adjustments, what amendments need to be made before the House will then have to take it up again after getting that procedural vote in the Senate on Saturday.
Yeah, that is for sure. The Senate began its vote-a-rama, some would say, this morning, meaning senators will offer amendments to the bill. This, of course, has been going on for a long time, a lot of them trying to meet the deadline of this Friday. And President Trump, once again saying, re-upping that July 4th, that is the deadline that he would like. Now, if this passes in the Senate, the bill, of course, as you said, Dan, goes back to the House to consider changes the Senate made to the House's version of the bill, which had passed by 1 vote.
Yeah, but again, as you heard Amy Kiley say there, you can only afford to lose a very small number of those GOP votes. House GOP leaders say Wednesday is the earliest chance for a mega bill vote because there's work that's got to play out between today and Wednesday. In particular, again, those amendments then going back to the House for another vote. But I think it's the concerns, or what concerns people the most, are the tax cuts for corporations and the mega wealthy, and the health care cuts for 16 million Americans over the next decade. You heard GOP Hawley there say that we can't be taking away health care from the middle class and the poor. And that is something that I think you're going to hear from a lot of these lawmakers who are standing in opposition to this. Though they fear any repercussion from the administration, they're the ones who are, kind of putting the feet to the fire here and saying, wait a second, we can't keep on taking from the poor and giving to the rich.
And I think that it's 940 pages. That is a lot. And a concern may be that maybe everyone isn't quite aware of all that is included in here, that there will be some sacrifices made in order to cut back on debt, for example. That's often a topic that you'll hear from a lot of proponents of the bill supporting this. But what is exactly in the bill itself that is causing some turmoil? So yes, talking about the slash to taxes for corporations and high income earners, also pouring more money into military spending and border security, which has been been huge as a part of President Trump's platform.
Yeah. Now, just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about one of the drafts of this bill and the yes votes that it received, and then we had several representatives come out and say, "Oh, I didn't read that part of the bill," talking about specific amendments in this bill, or specific measures rather in this bill, openly admitting that they did not read the bill. So we saw something that we don't see all that frequently happen on Capitol Hill play out on Saturday, where they read the 940-page bill aloud in front of all of the Senate to hear. It took more than 15 hours that they sat there and read this bill aloud as a group, so everyone was on the same page with what is actually included in this text. Because more often than not, there are little things, measures that are worked into this bill. We're talking about Medicaid, and we're talking about tax cuts, and we're talking about all of these things. But there is so much more jam-packed into these 940 pages. You know, you've got each side making concessions constantly. That's how we get any sort of legislation to make it through, with those concessions.
Yeah, and it's funny you should mention that, because Senator Schumer, he had posted on X about making sure that everyone read this, and that kind of being a priority for him. So sitting down and seeing exactly the impact, or trying to understand the impact, has been a big part of the other side, the opponents to this bill, because it's a large bill and there is a lot included in there. And debt aside, when you think about Medicaid, it is going to have a profound impact.
Very impactful. President Trump, as you mentioned, did want this done by the 4th of July, wanted on his desk and signed. He did a sit-down interview with Fox News just last night, where he said he understands that there's a lot to this and it could take a couple of additional days. And it didn't seem like that was going to be a deal breaker for him. But all of that remains to be seen as we continue to see this play out in the chamber. We will continue to follow it for you, both on air and online.
That is for sure. Hey, stick around. We've got so much more to get to here on ARC Rochester, including when we come back, we're going to be breaking down some other top political headlines.
Your political pulse coming your way next.
9:21, and it's time for a political pulse check here on ARC Rochester. And this morning, we are taking a closer look at some of the rulings handed down last Friday by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, for more on the cases and the decisions made, we're joined now by Professor Lucinda Finley from the University at Buffalo Law School. Thank you so much for waking up with us and joining us. We really appreciate it.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here.
So, excuse me, let's dive right in. What do you see? We did see a handful of decisions handed down from SCOTUS on Friday. What do you see as the biggest decisions that were announced?
Well, I think everybody thinks the nationwide injunction decision in the birthright citizenship case is the biggest decision, although I'm not sure it is. First, it does not actually decide the birthright citizenship question. The court wasn't asked to decide that question. The court said instead that when a lower court issues an injunction against the government, saying that the government can't enforce an illegal or unconstitutional policy, that injunction can only apply to enforcement against the entities that brought the lawsuit. It can't apply throughout the whole country to people who didn't bring the lawsuit. So it limits the reach of the court orders saying that the birthright citizenship policy was unconstitutional. But those orders remain in effect. Courts have still found the policy unconstitutional. So now there will be more cases to apply that ruling to more people. I think the most significant case that came down on Friday was one that said that parents have the right to opt out, to remove their child in public schools from a lesson whose material they find violates their religious beliefs. Several parents in Montgomery County, Maryland, objected to the inclusion in elementary school language arts classes of books that showed gay and lesbian couples as being a normal thing, or a book about a child wrestling with their gender identity. The parents said those books and their normalization of lesbian, gay, and trans people violated their religious beliefs, and they wanted to be able to pull their children out of the classes that included those books. The U.S. Supreme Court said that parents do have a right to remove their children from public school classes where the teaching in that classes may violate their religious belief. That could have a major disruptive effect on public education. I mean, religious beliefs cover all sorts of things. It could mean a parent could remove their child from biology class because it talks about, evolution. It means a parent could remove their child from a class that says that the races of people are equal because their religion says that they're not. It obviously applies to material about gay and lesbian people. So I think what might happen as a result of that case is that school districts will probably feel an incentive to have to water their curriculum down to materials that couldn't be objectionable to anybody, which kind of defeats the purpose of trying to open up people to new ideas and to the reality of a broad diversity of people in society. So I think because of its impact on public education, I think that's the most significant decision from last Friday.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to get into there. I want to touch on the first case that you mentioned first before going to the second one, because there are a lot of implications there as well. But just talking about the nationwide injunction, a lot of analysts we were hearing on Friday believe that this could have an effect on other types of cases. So just going beyond birthright citizenship.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the nationwide injunctions increased in frequency. I think first starting in the Obama administration, then the first Trump administration, and they kind of really grew during the Biden administration, and now even more of them during the second Trump administration, where groups or often state attorneys general who don't like the policies of the current president started running to court, often handpicking what they thought would be a favorable district court, and asking that court to find the executive presidential policy or the government action to be unconstitutional and to block it, not just for that region of the country, but for the entire country. It was becoming a way that people who, I said, didn't like the policies of the current president could basically ask courts to block them instead of, Congress to do something about it. So it had very serious separation of powers implications. And people have been asking the Supreme Court for, 5, 6, 7, 8 years to put a stop to this. And they finally did with this birthright citizenship case. So it means for whatever the government policy that you're challenging, the district court can block it only to the extent necessary to give relief from that policy to the very entities that sued. Now, in the birthright citizenship case, the several states, 22 states, have sued to block it. So the Supreme Court sent it back to the lower district court to decide how broad does the injunction need to be against the birthright citizenship policy in order to give the states complete relief. The states are arguing that they do need the injunction to apply in the whole country because they have people that move in and out of state all the time and that they won't be able to deal with trying to figure out whether a baby was born in a state that didn't block birthright citizenship. And, what do they do? Do they now give it citizenship because it lives in their state? But all of that remains to be thrashed out in the lower courts. So the
forgive me for interrupting. We're starting to run low on time, and I do want to expand a little bit. I want to know: are district courts not going to be overwhelmed now? Then with similar cases pushing for injunction, are they not going to have to hear 20 cases rather than just one case for the injunction?
That is likely to happen. But also in one of the existing cases, the parties challenging the birthright citizenship order have already filed to make their case what's called a class action, saying that the people who sued want to represent everyone in a similar position who could be affected by the order. So if the court grants that class action, then they could issue a nationwide order that would apply to everyone who is, at risk of having a baby that would be affected by the birthright citizenship policy. So we may see it resolved in one case.
We've got about 30 seconds left. I want to, if we can, I know we've been going back and forth, but if we could go back to that second case that you said we're likely see larger implications from allowing, choice on what children are taught in school on an individual basis, just based on religion. How do you see this playing out over the course of the next year or so?
Well, as I said, I think school districts all over are likely to now start getting requests from a variety of parents saying, this book violates my religious beliefs for a whole variety of reasons. And they're going to have to allow that parent's child to be removed out of the classroom while they're discussing that book or that idea. And that either is going to create administrative chaos in schools, or school districts are going to have to say, well, we just can't teach about anything that anybody might object to. And, if you can't do that, then you probably can teach almost nothing.
Yeah, it leads to a watered down education.
Yeah, definitely watered down education. And that was a point made very strongly by the dissenters in that case. The public education is supposed to present people to a diversity of beliefs. And if you don't like it, you have options to go educate your child at home or in a private school. But public education is supposed to be about reflecting the reality of everybody, not just, a watered down majoritarian view.
Professor, thank you so much for your time this morning. Pleasure speaking with you. Hope to have you on again in the future.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, don't go anywhere. We still have so much more to come here on ARC Rochester.
Stick around. We're back on the other side of the break. Monday morning. Thanks so much for sticking with us here on ARC Rochester. It's time for a reporter recap this morning, and we're going to take a closer look at a local organization that operates senior housing programs that's reportedly set to close.
Family Service of Rochester is expected to shut down at the end of July. This follows the abrupt closures of multiple senior housing programs in Rochester and one in Fairport.
13 WAM's Natalie Calzatoni has more on this story and the families impacted.
A shocking announcement for those living at the Northfield in Fairport and their families this week.
The president of the board for Family Services Communities told them that they were closing up shop and had 30 days to find new residents.
Jennifer Caesar says her father-in-law lives at the senior housing facility and was called in for a meeting Tuesday. That's where Jean Lowe, the board chair for Family Service of Rochester, can be heard in this audio recording addressing renters, their families, and staff.
It is our intention to close down the company, so we will not be operating as a provider of enriched services or assisted living services at the end of July.
Family Service citing financial constraints as the reason for ending the state-licensed program at the Northfield. Caesar says the announcement was a complete shock.
Trying to find them homes, new homes in 30 days is just, it's ridiculous. And they didn't do anything wrong. They've been paying their rent, most of them from, directly from Social Security.
Unlike the other properties that faced program closures, the Northfield building is not owned by Rochester Housing Authority, but by Family Service. RHA has stated that Family Service owes more than $400,000 in unpaid rent. Lowe can be heard during the meeting saying the Northfield has no relationship with RHA.
The issue here is that the level of service and the cost of the building exceeds the rents that we receive from the individuals who live here.
Philip Savella says his father liked the Northfield and its staff. He and Caesar tell me they still have a lot of questions.
That's number one on everyone's mind. Where did the money go?
We just don't know, because the answer is we don't have the money to keep it going past 30 days. That was it.
And beyond that, no comment.
A lot to get into there. Natalie Calzatoni, she joins us now with more on that story. I think that's a valid question coming from that man there asking about where did the money go?
Yeah, definitely. That's been the biggest question in all of this. Where did that money go? I know when it came to the other properties, Danforth, Hudson Ridge Towers, Jonathan Childs, those properties are owned by Rochester Housing Authority. Rochester Housing Authority claims that Family Service owes over $400,000 in unpaid rent. When it comes to the Northfield and Fairport, that's owned by Family Service, so, it's still a lot up in the air. We're still, I know Family Service has told us they can't comment on legal matters and stuff like that, so it may take time to learn what's going on there.
Well, I would imagine some of these families will come out and call for an audit of this organization, because we know 30 days to find housing for anyone is a task. 30 days to find someone housing who needs special assistance, senior living housing, is, virtually impossible. How are these families supposed to accomplish this?
Well, right, and that's what Jennifer Caesar was saying. She was like 30 days. I mean, there's waiting lists. It's not that simple. What happens if they can't find housing? And that's a question in this as well. I know with what's different about that property too is with the Rochester Housing Authority properties, a lot of them could have switched over to the public housing there and been able to stay. When it comes to the Northfield, though, Family Service owes that building. If they're closing as an organization, people can't stay. So, Jennifer Caesar is hoping there can be a solution here. Maybe somebody could take over the building. That's just an idea she's throwing around. They're going to have a sit-in at the sidewalk on Wednesday. They're very upset and scrambling here.
All right.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Are families hearing anything from the operator other than this is the deadline?
Now, there was the meeting that you heard in the recording, and it was a pretty long meeting. I know they aren't hearing a lot of reasons, behind the situation. They just know there's financial issues. We can't afford to stay open past this 30 days at the Northfield, that is. And, they're offering services and support to help relocate people. They are offering that assistance, but there's still a lot of questions up in the air of why, why it's so abrupt.
And when they were talking about those legal matters, I don't know if you can answer this, but are they talking about just the financial side of things, or are some people taking legal action now?
That's a good question. I know they really didn't comment on that. I know Rochester Housing Authority has kind of said they were getting legal people involved. I have spoken with the attorney who is representing some people at the Danforth Tower. So I know there's a lot of that involved there. I'm not sure the specifics on Family Services end, though.
I would imagine that RHA and several of these residents and their families would be looking to take some sort of legal action unless this all gets worked out in a very timely manner. But the clock is ticking because the end of July?
End of July.
Yeah, right around the corner.
Yes.
Yeah, 30 days.
Yeah.
All right, Natalie Calzatoni, I know you'll continue to follow this for us, so thank you.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Hey, stick around. We have got so much more to come here on ARC Rochester, including when we come back, we're taking a look at some of the stories that have people talking this morning.
We certainly are. Hey, and don't forget, you can watch us on the go. Did you know, Steph, that we stream this show live 5 days a week on the 13 Wham YouTube channel and on foxrochester.com? Did you know that?
No.
I know. It's really incredible. We work so hard for you. Stick around. We're back after this.
Yeah, it's time to see what's trending now, starting with a soccer match that you have to see to believe.
I love this story. I wanted this to be my off the top this morning because the video, it's just great.
You have to see it.
Humanoid robot teams have won over fans in Beijing as a way of showing off China's advancement in technology. 4 teams, look at them go, of humanoid robots faced off in a fully autonomous 3-on-3 soccer match.
Oh, the robots were fully powered by AI. The event was touted as a first in China and a preview for the upcoming World Humanoid Robot Games.
Wait, he's gonna fall.
Oh!
And look at this. They take them off the field in
They
stretchers.
look like small children.
They do. They kind of play like toddlers too.
Yeah.
You know, toddlers though I think play a little bit better. They're not good. Look at him kick. Like what a kick. That's terrible.
Yeah,
Terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get back on track here.
Is that like dribbling? That they're no.
I don't know. According to organizers, boom, he goes down. A key aspect of the match was that all the robots operated without any human intervention or supervision.
The robots were equipped with advanced visual sensors, making them able to identify the ball and navigate the field.
Yeah, they were also designed to stand up on their own after falling. However, during the match, several had to be carried off the field, as you saw, on stretchers by staff.
According to the founder and CEO of the robotics company, the goal is to have AI robots be safe enough to play alongside humans.
Okay.
Which is an interesting goal, I think.
This is what, look at some of these though. This is what I find interesting. They to the side.
Yeah.
They don't really go forward. It's all side movement.
Yeah.
At an angle. Do it again, Krista.
We should do a side by side.
So they kind of go like this.
They do. That's exactly
To
it.
go forward. They don't walk like some of the other robots that you see.
They can't go a long
on a daily basis.
Right. They can't go a long distance in a short amount of time, clearly. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Oh, yeah, we're being told to.
Why don't you say that out loud? Moving along now. Forget hot girl summer. We went back to this. We're told to move along. See, Chris likes that better than whatever we're talking about now. Hot girl summer, a vow of silent summer is now the next big thing.
According to new research, Gen Z women are opting for a different kind of peaceful vacation by booking stays at Catholic convents and monasteries. Am I saying that right?
Monasteries.
Monasteries for the summer.
This is bizarre.
Who are the Gen Z women? It's not me.
We should find out. It's not Abby here either. The trend is taking off with women booking a vow of silence. We just read this. Keep going.
Across the globe, it seems.
It's become popular, a popular idea that some convents are now fully booked for the next 3 months. Where and what convent lists rooms on Airbnb?
I mean, people are trying to...
So it's not like a stay. So people are signing up to go to these convents and monasteries for like an experience. And of course, they're going to be welcoming and let anyone in because that's,
Well, are these people calling, Sacred Heart of Christ and saying, "Hey, do you guys have any rooms available? I want to come and crash for 2 weeks while I'm in Italy."
Just for silence?
That, yeah.
So according to those who have been on these vacations, the experience is spent getting in touch with one's spiritual side in a serene environment.
Something tells me this is Gen Z's way of going on vacation and not paying for it. Because I don't think they're going to be paying to stay.
I didn't see anything about pricing or anything like that.
Yeah.
If they did pay.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they're probably not paying to stay at the convent. They're probably not paying to eat at the convent. I'm just saying, it sounds a little tacky. You want to do this? I would say go...
a retreat.
Yes, go on some sort of retreat. And pay your way to do this. I don't...
We'll wrap it up before Dan gets even more upset.
You know me well.
We've got so much more to come here on ARC Rochester, including when we come back, our friends from the Wildlife Rockstars will join us in studio.
Yeah, we've got Diggs coming in. We're back after this. The wildlife rock stars are back, and this morning our good friend Diggs the armadillo is back with them.
We also have a few special guests joining us this morning to chat more about some of their upcoming events for the summer. We are joined now by Sarah Saylor, Elizabeth Dudek, and Richard Anderson. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having us today.
Absolutely, absolutely. For someone who's not met Diggs before, we've got to introduce this, because listen, we love having you guys, but Diggs is the star here. Talk to us about Diggs. Where did he come from? How long have we had him? And what's his day-to-day like?
Yeah, so Diggs is our three-banded armadillo. He normally would come from South America, so places like Bolivia and Belize. He is 4 years old, and his day-to-day looks kind of like this. He's very social. He's a social butterfly. He likes to do high-fiving with his staff and members. Occasionally, he likes to roll over and get belly rubs. And he loves worms, so we'll put him in a playpen with all of his worms, and he goes around searching for his favorite food.
Ooh, sounds delicious, Diggs.
That is for sure. Now, is Diggs part of the amazing events you've got planned for this summer?
He is. So Diggs is a fan favorite, as you can see, and we have our summer series coming up. So Richard from Anderson Associates Wealth Management is our summer series sponsor. He helps make it possible for us to be at Eastview Mall doing all of our Wildlife Wednesdays. We will be at tons of different libraries. And Elizabeth is our events coordinator, and she helps make all of those events happen for us.
You gotta laugh. He just rolls over like, scratch my belly. Richard, why team up with Wildlife Rockstars?
So a couple different reasons. One, our office are incredibly fanatic about animals of any kind. We do a lot of work with humane societies in the area, and we were introduced to Bridges for Brain Injury through a client of ours who actually suffered a brain injury through a work event. And we've been happy to basically find out about this great organization and the work that they do. And so the fact that we have the animals and the passion and the mission, we're happy to be involved with that.
And Elizabeth, tell us more about that mission.
We are so excited for your support and grateful. Thank you so much. And our mission is all about supporting people who have experienced traumatic brain injuries and bridging the gap to more purpose and responsibility. And we do that through our therapeutic programs with our 40 different exotic and farm animals. It's really therapeutic for both people and the animals. And you can come see us. You can see Diggs. We have Wildlife Wednesdays at Eastview Mall now through August 27th.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah,
what are the hours for that?
11 a.m. till 2 p.m. There is a lunch break from 12 to 1.
Worms on the menu.
Right. But you can come see our animals and check out our kiosk. We have a kiosk proudly presenting Anderson and Associates Wealth Management as well in front of the Dick's Sporting Goods location. So come and check us out. You can also go to bridgesforbraininjury.org. A pop-up will appear for you to enter your email. You can be informed about all of our upcoming events, fundraisers. You can also donate on our website right there as well.
Look at little Diggs here.
Who wouldn't want to meet
Just
Diggs?
curled up into a little ball. Okay, Sarah, we've had Diggs on the show so many times. He typically comes mid to late January, just in time to pick the Super Bowl
Yeah.
team.
Oh my goodness.
I keep on, has he been getting them right? I can't remember. I feel like I want him to get them right,
Same.
but he hasn't.
I feel like that too. Someone that I was speaking to out there had mentioned that the last time that he did pick the Eagles, but I think it was kind of like a 3 out of 5 or something like that.
Okay.
So we kind of helped him a little bit.
Not as good as the groundhog.
Yeah, not as good as the groundhog yet. He's working on it. He will get there. Thank you all so much for coming in this morning. We really appreciate it. If you want to learn more on ways you can help Wildlife Rockstars and Bridges for Brain Injury, we will post all of that information and much more on our website after the show this morning, foxrochester.com.
Don't go anywhere. When ARC Rochester returns, it's this morning's Final Thoughts.
this morning for our final thoughts.
Yeah.
All right, who's got what? Listen, Diggs, hands down. He makes the day better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
It's my first armadillo that I've pet.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Seriously? Steph.
When was the last time he was in? What was it?
Beginning of the year, just in time for the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
He guessed that one right? Right?
I don't know. I think that's the thing. I feel like we want Diggs to get it right every year, so we pretend like he does.
Oh, okay.
Gotta root for him.
You do.
But I like how he fits together like a puzzle piece.
He really does. Just a total little ball. The little feet.
Yeah, that's great.
Very cute. Very cute. Good show today.
Yeah, it was good. Yep.
Yeah.
Solid.
Another hot day out there.
Yeah, near 90. Yep. Some
90.
hot stuff.
Heat.
Humid
Humidity.
too. Yeah. Storms light.
Sticky.
Sticky.
Turn the air conditioning on. You're going to need it. That does it for us here on ARC Rochester. Make sure to wake up with us again tomorrow morning starting at 4:57. Oh, where are we at that point?
13 WHAM ABC. You'll see me and meteorologist Mark McLean there for 13 WHAM News at midday. Bye.
Bye.